Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the Clarity to CEO podcast. I am Philippa, and today we're going to talk about something that most women entrepreneurs don't say out loud. I'm creating content consistently, so why isn't it creating revenue? This month, we're not talking about posting more. We're not talking about hacks. We're talking about how to turn strategy into revenue, how to move it from visibility to profitability. Before we dive in, two quick things. If you're feeling like your marketing is busy but not converting, I want to invite you to my Strategic Marketing Canvas workshop. It's a free live session where we build your 90-day marketing direction, not random content ideas. The link for this is in the show notes. I would love to see you there. And second, my new book, When Clarity Leads, Women Entrepreneurs Embrace a CEO-Level Approach to Vision, Growth, and Content Strategy. That is going to be available for pre-order soon, so please take a look at my website. There is a link to be on the list for you to be notified when it's available. And if today's episode resonates with you, you'd love a deeper framework inside this book, you want to check that out. You can grab the pre-order link below. All right, so let's dig into today's message. It's all about the content that we're creating and whether or not it's converting, and how we can get that to happen. And so the first point that we're going to talk about today is about the free content that we're creating. Free content without strategic intent can create educated non-buyers, which obviously is disappointing. We are, of course, creating some thought leadership, but thought leadership without conversions is not the goal here. So let's start with something that's uncomfortable. So a lot of you are building extremely educated audiences who never buy from you. And why is this happening? That's because your content is teaching skills. It's teaching some awesome things about the expertise that you have, about the problems that you're solving. It's really educating your audience on what to do, but it's not shaping decisions on what to do with that information. So there's a difference. Teaching skills says, here's how to do this, or here's 5 steps. Here are the tools. Here's a checklist. However, shaping decisions says, here's why you're stuck. Here's what you're misdiagnosing. Here's what costing you growth. Here's the shift required. You can see the difference there, where one is literally handing them what they need, which in some cases it's good to do, but the other case is shaping their decisions and setting them up to see why it is they need that shift and why it is that you need your help. So free content should diagnose, but not deliver the entire cure for them. So in When Clarity Leads, the book I mentioned coming out, I talk about strategic generosity. This means you give value, but you don't remove the need for implementation, which is where you come in and your expertise come in. If someone can execute your entire transformation without ever hiring you, you've accidentally built a content library and not a client pipeline. So ask yourself, does your content create clarity or completion? Does it show what's missing, or does it provide that gap and fix it for them? Does it introduce your framework, or does it give them the framework right out the bat? All right, so revenue follows structure. And so we want to give them some structure, but not the entire package when you start creating content. Now, this leads to my next point, that your content must lead somewhere, or it's not going to lead anywhere. Every piece of content that you make should answer this question: what decision is this helping my audience make today? Not how many likes will this get, or how much engagement will this get. You want to focus on the decisions that your audience is going to make when they read this, or see this, or listen to this, whatever your content is. If your content ends without direction, your audience consumes and then scrolls on, which that's not what we want. We want them to stick around, engage, actually take that next step. So instead of, here are 3 content tips, you want to shift that to, if you recognize yourself in this, it's time to stop guessing and build a strategy. That's exactly what we do in, and then you mention, whatever it is that your program does. All right, so that shift is more of leadership. Free content has 4 possible roles. You can attract new people, which is great. We want to build your audience. You want to build awareness. You want people in your circle to start building your audience and lead pipeline. You also want to build authority. Building authority helps you establish that trust, helps you establish that you can do what you need to do. You're building that expertise and you're setting that standard that you can solve the problems. You're deepening that trust. You're setting that expectation that, they can trust you to do what you are saying that you're going to do, and that you're demonstrating through your content that you are going to follow through with your promises. And then your content should also drive action. Your content should provide that next step for your audience to take with you on how to actually make what you're talking about, what your content is promising, how you make that actually happen for them. If it doesn't do any of these intentionally, then it's just noise. So CEO-level marketing is intentional, and it intentionally is designed around one or more than these pillars. So again, that's attracting new people, building authority, deepening trust, driving action. The next point I want to make today is that most entrepreneurs confuse attention with conversions. So let's go deeper here. Visibility is not revenue, and engagement is not revenue. Followers is not revenue. Revenue comes from clarity, which leads to trust, which leads to decisions, which leads to action. If you're posting inspirational content that makes people feel good, that builds connections, which is nice and which we do want in the beginning. If you're posting tactical content, that's going to build authority, which again is good. We need that. But if you're never posting decision content that calls people forward, you're going to stay stuck in that influencer mode. You're not building an audience for applause. You're building a business. We got to remember that this is a business that you're running. You need to make some money. And if you're not able to generate leads from the content that you're creating, we need to take a step back and say, okay, what do we need to do differently? And all of this requires an invitation on the content that you're creating. This is something I break down further in the book, and the difference between content that performs and content that converts. It needs to be very clear and intentional when you're creating that content. They're not always the same thing. The next thing I want to talk about is that your offer should be embedded into your content ecosystem. So let me teach something practical here. Your content should consistently reinforce some things, and that is your method, your philosophy, your positioning, and your offer. So what is the method that you have where you deliver your services? What is the method that you practice? So like if you have a mastermind or if you have one-on-one coaching, what is that method that you deliver your services? That can change and impact whether or not people work with you, because people want different styles when it comes to services on how they want to receive that service. And so if you're clear with the method of service that you're providing, that's really going to help reinforce that type of expectations that you're going to provide your clientele. Your philosophy. This is important for your clients to understand your philosophy in this and how you view what it is that your expertise and what it is that you're promising. This is really going to be key on whether or not they can build trust in you and whether or not you're seeing on the same level, whether or not you understand the problems that they're facing on the same level that they are. So making sure that you're expressing your philosophy in your content is really going to help you resonate and connect with your audience, which will help them make better decisions for your offers. And then your positioning. You need to make sure that you're positioning your offers to the right people. This all goes back to knowing who your audience is in the first place and creating content that is geared and specifically designed for that target audience. And then you're on the right channels. You're posting the right information and you're saying the right messaging. And then there's the actual offer itself. You're creating an offer that's aligned with the value that you're providing. Many times, unfortunately, especially women entrepreneurs, we know we've all been there, done that, is that we're providing such a powerful, great service, but then we're undervaluing it by either undercharging or we are trying to jam pack so much value into it and overloading things instead of simplifying things and providing just a pleasant experience for our clients. And so you need to really look at your offer, see if it's the most clear, simple experience that you're providing and that you're really charging the value that it's worth. And that way it sets the standard and the expectations of the experience in your customer's eyes as well. right, so that doesn't mean that every single post is going to be a buy from me post. It means reinforcing your framework as often as you can, reinforcing your client's results, and reinforcing your next steps. That's the next steps to work with you. If your audience hears from you month after month and still doesn't know what exactly you sell, who it's for, and how it works, that isn't a sales problem. That's a clarity problem. Clarity creates confidence, and confidence drives conversions. What we need to focus on today, the last point, is that you need a revenue bridge, not just a content calendar. So let's get tactical here as we wrap things up. Here's the structure I teach my clients. Free content should lead to a lead capture, which leads to conversions, and then you present your offer. If you skip the middle pieces, you'll feel like content is pointless. You can't just go from free content to the offer. That doesn't really build that relationship. So ask yourself, do I have a lead magnet? Do I invite people to a workshop, or do I have a clear next step? Do I regularly move from content to conversion? This is exactly why I built the Strategic Marketing Canvas workshop the way I did. It's not about ideas. It's about building that bridge in between creating content and then leading into the actual mastermind that the Strategic Marketing Canvas workshop demonstrates. And so I could potentially just create content that goes from free content straight to the mastermind. But then I feel like there's a big gap because there's a big experience there. And there needs to be some setup for that to explain the value of the mastermind, to demonstrate what you're going to get in the mastermind, to set up that value, to set up that experience. And so that workshop gives my audience that opportunity to experience it. So I'm bridging that gap between that content and the offer. I say, because content without a bridge, again, it's just broadcasting what it is you do, just shouting out your offers, and that doesn't convert. So content with a bridge, that's a pipeline, and that's what you want. You want to create a pipeline that gives your audience an experience that they can follow easily and get the information that they need while still learning from you and having opportunity to build that relationship with you and eventually get to that offer and make that sale. And so if you want free content to turn into paid clients, here's the real shift that you need to make. Stop asking, how do I create more value? And start asking instead, how do I create more clarity? Clarity qualifies. Clarity builds trust. It creates urgency, and clarity converts. And when clarity leads, revenue follows. And so before you go, make sure that you grab that free pass to the next strategic marketing workshop. It's going to be happening this month on May 18th, so you don't want to miss that. If you're ready to move from content chaos to conversion clarity, this is the room that you want to be in. So if you're ready to move from content chaos to conversion clarity, that's the room you really want to be in. And if this episode stretched your thinking, go pre-order when clarity leads. It will give you the full CEO level framework behind everything we talked about today. And if the pre-order is not ready yet, don't worry, just get on the wait list so that you'll be notified as soon as it's ready. Next week, we're going to be talking about simplifying your offers for profit and ease. And that conversation might challenge you even more than this one today. So until next time, keep leading with clarity, and I will see you then.